Okay, here we're going to show you an example of drawing a pictorial view. You're given with multi-view like this, and by use your imagination, the pictorial looks like this. Let's say, for example, you figure out what the pictorial view looks like. How do we draw that in AutoCAD? So that is the video that I'm trying to show you. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is actually to set your drawing area to be a different grid. The normal grid is X and Y, everything go horizontal and vertical. But you can see on this kind of grid is so-called the isometric grid. So we have to change these to the isometric grid. How do we change that? Okay, so here are the things that you need to do, and these are the commands that you are going to use to complete this drawing. The pictorial view requires you to select isometric grid, and you also need to draw the circle, not like a circle, but it's like an ellipse. This circle is called isocircles. And to draw the circle at the right plane, then you have to change the plane to so-called isoplane. And let me show you how to do this example here. So go to the command window and we type the command called snap. Well, before we do that, let me just mention another thing over here. If you look at the picture that we're going to draw, uh, the value, it's in a decimal point. So it's, for example, on this one is 2.00. When you see a value with a decimal point and two digits after the decimal point, that implies the unit system is in inches. If it's a whole number, that's going to be in millimeter. So if you see this value, you should instantly know this is going to be in inches. And therefore, when you start your drawing area, your drawing file, you should verify if that unit is correct. So let's type a unit. And the window shows us we are using 0.00 as the position, which is the one that we want. And this is in inches. So before you do drawing, make sure that you use the right unit system. Alright, so let's start to change the drawing area to isometric grid. Type snap. At the bottom right here, you'll see a list of the selection, and you wanted to select style. Okay, select style. Once you select the style, you will have two options. You have a standard, which is the current one, and the other one is called isometric. This is the one that we wanted to use. Click on the isometric. And it will ask you about the vertical spacing. So the default is 0.50, meaning every 0.5 inches they will show the grid. Okay, now our drawing, we have a 0.25 increment, so I'm going to change this one to 0.25. It's easier for us to select the point. Alright, once you finish this, the next thing that you need to do is, how do I see? Well, first thing you notice is our cursor, or this is so-called crosshair in AutoCAD, has become an X, right? It's not like a plus sign. It's not horizontal, vertical, X and Y. Now it turned with certain angle. This shows you your paper already in isometric. Another way to show that is go down to the bottom here, just right next to the model. You will have a green line shows like this, so you can display the grid. So let's turn on the grid. Click on this one to make it into gray blue color. Then you can see this grid, right? Each one of this green line will help you to select the right point. All right. Now, how do we approach this? How do we draw this one here? Well, the first thing you normally want to start is to draw some flat, like a rectangular. So you deal with the circle later. So let's deal with this rectangular over here. And the rectangular I'm going to draw is actually, I want us to start with, let's start with the top one here. Um, just by looking at the model view, I know this rectangular one, the top box, is actually like this box over here. It has a height of 0.5. It has the width, which is this part, this one here. It's going to be 0.75 times 2, which is 1.5. So the width is 1.5, the height is 0.5, and the length of that is based on this length over here, which is 2, plus the radius of this semicircle here, which is 0.75, so the total is 2.75. Okay, so let's start to draw lines. So just click on the line, and then you can select any point that you like to start. I'm going to start from here. Okay, I click once to make selection of my first point, then go to the next point. Now when you go to the next point, you can see there's a polar um, coordinate shows up. You can use the polar coordinate to help you to draw that. I want to go to the left for how much? 2.75. So now I can simply type at 2.75, and the angle is 150 degree. Angle is 150 degree. I will tell you why this angle is 150 degree. Because when this kind of a grid shows, it it has an angle with respect to horizontal axis. So if you have a horizontal axis go like this, then the angle between this line and the horizontal axis is 30 degree. And because horizontal is 180, you minus 130, then if you count the angle from the right hand side to this line here is 150 degree. So when you do the polar, you have to do 150 degree. Okay, so that is why we get to this point. Now, what is going to be the next? The next is, this is like a plate, right? It has a thickness. What is the thickness? We just told you this is the 0.5. So I can go down 0.5 to get my thickness. And if you use the snap grid, the grid snap, then you only go down 2 unit. You can see this is a 0.5. If you want to type polar, you can also type polar. You type at 0.5 and last 270 degree or minus 90 degree. That's the vertical downwards. Okay, I'm going to click, and then you go back to the starting point, but below that, right? So it will be somewhere around here, and I go up to finish my rectangular on the left hand side. So I finished this part here. Okay, I'm not sure you can see it, but it's going to be the rectangular on the left hand side. Again, I would deal with the circle, the semicircle later, but first you have to do that. The next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend to this angle. Okay, this angle is going to be the angle that goes to this direction, because I try to draw this plate here. Alright, so what is that angle should goes to? You want to go to the angle which will go along the green line. So I wanted to go to this angle, and that the angle is going to be and the degree of 30 degree. Okay, so isometric is that the right side angle between the line and the horizontal is 30. The left side is also 30 degree, but if we count it from the right hand side, it's going to be 150. That's why this one will be 30. And how much is the width? The width is the radius of this semicircle here, right here. It's 0.75. So I'm going to say at 0.75 with degree of 30. Okay, so that is, oh, I should use 1.5 instead of 0.75 because it's the radius, so it actually go across the diameter. So I should go another 1.5. Let me do another 1.5, 0.75, and the degree is okay. So in total, it should be 1.5. Okay, that very close to what we have so far from here to here, right? So what's the next? The next that you will go this direction, the same length, which is going to be 2.75. So at 2.75, angle 150. And then we can close this to here. Then you hit enter to close it. So now I'm 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 finished part of this part, the top part here, right? And how do we do the semicircle one? Let me show you how you can use ellipse command to draw an isocircle. Now we just need a semicircle, but it's there's well, it's not easy to draw a semicircle. It's easier to draw a circle. Once you draw a circle, then we can trim it. We just trim the half. Then we will have the other half left. Okay, so let's just type the command called ellipse. Once you type the ellipse, look at here. You have a selection, an arc, a center, or isocircle. I am going to select isocircle. Once you select isocircle, they will ask you where is the center of your isocircle. I wanted to draw the isocircle along this line here. So when you want to select the center, make sure that you turn on the on snap, which is over here, O snap. Click on the O snap triangle and make sure that you select midpoint, but because we're going to use the midpoint of the line to draw a circle, so make sure that you turn this one on and also select the midpoint. Okay, I go to this midpoint and I need to draw the isocircle. This isocircle has the diameter or the radius is 0.75. So you select this one here and then you can specify your radius. Okay, so the radius is 0.75. Then you look at this. Well, this doesn't look like the circle that we tried to draw. So what happened? Well, it doesn't look like the circle that you draw was because you are not drawing at the right iso plane. The cursor shows you this one, the cross, the X crosshair. It is the crosshair along this plane here, because the horizontal line is the X line aligned with the horizontal line at here. The vertical line up with the vertical line at here. So you are drawing the plane on this plane, but I wanted to draw the circle on the top plane. So how do you change that? So that's it. Delete this one first because this is not what we want. How do you change that? You can use function phi to change your isoplane. So let's just click on function phi with topcoat. You can see the cursor is going to change. This one is the plane over here. This one is the plane at this side. This one is the plane on the top. I wanted to use the top plane. So before you use the ellipse, make sure that you tackle the plane to be the plane that you want to draw the isocircle. Alright, so I've changed this to top plane. Let me continue the command ellipse and select the isocircle, and then select the center point, and then you can specify the radius, which is 0.75. Now if you look at here, the circle is exactly like this one right here. It's a circle, it's not semicircle, but we can trim it later on. So before I trim it, I also need to draw the circle at the bottom. Because I draw the circle on the top face, the bottom also have exactly the same isocircle. How do I draw the bottom one? Well, you can simply just copy this. So go to the copy, or just type the command copy. Then it's going to ask you to select the object. I'm going to select this one here. Click on this one and hit enter to confirm your selection. It will ask you to specify the base point. The base point will be the center of the circle. So I'm going to select this one here. I'm not going to select the midpoint. Okay, so how do I select center? You have to go to the unsnap. Click on the triangle right next to the unsnap and make sure that you select the center. And because the midpoint overlap with the center, I'm going to deselect the midpoint so I can select the center. I also don't want the quadrant to kind of bothers me to select the right point. I'm going to deselect the quadrant as well. Okay, I just want to have the center. Once you have the center on and move your mouse, then you will see center is right here. Click on the center to be your base point. Then you wanted to move the center to the bottom by how much? By the thickness of the plate, which is 0.5. So you can simply just specify the second point be at 0.5 less of 270. Okay, at 0.5 less 270. Okay, so that is my point that I wanted to select. Then you hit enter to exit. Okay, now you can see there's two circles, right? This two circle actually is the two circle that you need at the end. But it's not our result yet because you also need to draw a line to line up these two to connect these two semicircle. So how do you connect these two? Well, you need to draw a line, so you just simply draw a line from the bottom to the top. Okay, so just connect this one to here. So what is the point that you should select? The point you're going to select is going to be the tangent point. So let's go to the unsnap again. Let's make sure that we select the tangent. This is the tangent point. So we already select the tangent on. Then you draw a line. Then you go to this one here to see if you can see the tangent. You will see, well, it's hard to find a tangent because we use the grid on, so it's snapped to the grid. You deselect this one, it will allow your mouse to move at the tangent point. So we use this point here, and then you go down to the next point at the bottom, and then you finish the connection of these two. Alright, that pretty much finished the left hand side, the top face, but we need to trim this a little bit. So let's trim this. When you trim it, you select the object that you want to trim by use your mouse, click on the left hand side upper corner once, and move your mouse to the right lower corner, click, and then you click on the scissor, which is the trim, or you can type the trim. Once you type the trim, you cut off the point that you don't want. I don't need this line here, but I'm gonna keep it because I'm gonna draw another, well, it's because we're gonna draw another small circle, so I'm gonna keep it right now, but we will deselect later. Let's cut this one here. We don't need this one, we don't need this one, we don't need this one, we don't need this one too. I don't see this one. This is at the bottom. I cannot see this one as well, so we're going to deselect this one. This one here is also not visible. It's not like a sharp corner. It's like a smooth corner. So if that's a smooth corner, there's no lines is going to exist. So we're going to delete this line as well. Okay. So now you can see we are very close to this one here right now. Only thing that we don't have is the circle on the top. Let me exit this trim by hit enter. Now let's draw the small circle here. Again, this small circle is also on the top plane, so you have to make sure you are on the top ISO plane. Right now the cursor is top ISO plane. How do we draw an isocircle? Ellipse. And we want to draw isocircle. And where is our center? It will be the midpoint here. Okay, and the center of the big circle as well. Click once, and then you specify the radius. The small circle has a diameter 0.5. So radius is 0.25, so I can say 0.25. Then I draw the small circle right here. Then you don't do a copy to the bottom because it doesn't matter you draw it or not. You are not going to be able to see it in the pictorial view. So you don't need to draw another one to copy it. And then you simply just trim the rest of the line. Then you will have this part complete. So let me finish this part. So click once at the upper left, click move mouse to the lower right, and then you select the trim, then trim out the line at here and here and here, and hit enter. So that is the part that on the top. I'm going to stop at here, then you can follow the same instruction to draw the other part, which is the right hand side here. Okay, so let me just give you another hint. When you draw the part on this corner here, you can see this one here that goes straight down. You can draw a box first, then draw a circle and trim the upper semicircle, then you will have the semicircle at the bottom. Before you trim it, you also want to copy the circle to the left, just like we copy the circle from the top to the bottom, because it has a thickness. So it will be similar to the one that we did. Then you will be able to do this on yourself. Okay, I hope that you learned how to draw in pictorial view with a circle, and you can do your homework and also do some practice using your book. I'll see you on next video.